What is good, YouTube? What is good? Welcome into the show once again. I'm your host, Tavares Wilson. As you all know now, I always get the last word. We're doing a little bit of a earlier show than the usual time. Kind of conflicted schedules this week, so we're trying to get the show in and out as quickly as possible. But as always, I'm here with my running mate, man, Larry. What's up, my boy? How you feeling?
What's good, man? What's good? Everybody feeling?
Right. So we got a couple things to talk about. A couple things transpired since the last time we've been on. So first thing we got to talk about, I feel as if is Tua getting placed on IR officially. So he will be out at the bare minimum 4 games up until the
Mm-hmm.
Colts game. So he'll be eligible to return the Cardinals game. And you don't necessarily have the worst schedule in the world to try to keep afloat while he's out. I know we got Seattle this week. We're gonna talk about that a little bit here. You got the Patriots, you got Tennessee, you got the Colts. So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, Larry, how are you feeling about the whole tour news about him? Like we discussed last time, not really considering retirement by all reports. And how do you feel about him coming back and the state of the team, what it could possibly be?
I mean, especially with the addition of Tyler Huntley, which is an assurance free agent pickup. I do think that, especially him coming back maybe this year, it'll be. I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to dictate what he does do, but I do think that he needs, a further evaluation. I don't want to think that he's rushing to come back. And yeah, man, it's just unfortunate, and just to hear that he is on IR, just, it does give me a sense of like we're taking some form of precautions dealing with the situation. So I'm really interested to see how it all plays out, what we do to this season. And just like you said, we don't have the toughest season. Hell, we don't have the toughest stretch of him being on IR of games. Not to discredit any of the teams, especially with Arizona looking good, Seattle always been that cusp type team, and the Titans and everything. But it's not the toughest stretch. So I do want to see what we do with, Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley. So
Right. So I agree with everything you're saying. It's not, like I said before, man, it's not our place nor decision to decide for him whether or not he walks away from the game. At the end of the day, this is a grown man. I know a lot of people are saying that I guess, as a reinforcement that, he's going to do whatever he pleases because it's his career, his life, whatever the case may be. And I think a lot of people misconstrue where people were coming from. Well, I can't speak for everyone, but for the very least, us here on the show, because I don't feel as if anyone is trying to tell Tua what to do because we feel like he needs to be told what to do. We honestly just gave an opinion based on what we've seen the nature of the beast result to. I mean, Andrew Luck has retired early because of injuries. Patrick Willis did the same. Luke Kuechly did the same. Trent Green did the same. Plenty have done it due to injuries. They've left the game behind with plenty of years left. So it was never about trying to tell him what to do with himself. It's always just been what we believe this possibly could lead to and how we've seen this play out before. But again, if that's what Tua wants to do, then by all means, I mean, I'm no one to tell him to go sit down or anything like that. It's a discussion for him and his family. Now, as far as the Tyler Huntley news go, he was brought in, and it was already stated to be the backup to Skylar Thompson. I mean, I don't know how people believe or fully believe if he's going to come in and even actually play a snap if Skylar isn't playing god awful or hurt, whatever the case may be. Because they had to do something. I mean, you couldn't go out there with Tim Boyle and Skylar Thompson thinking you're gonna convince people that you're still trying to compete. I mean, it's not that Tyler Huntley is by any means an all pro, but is he someone who can give you some kind of different look or still some kind of talent once he actually is on the field? If he does touch the field, yes. So I like the move from that perspective, but we have to also still be honest about what this team is at this point. So, with all that being said, though, let's give a prediction of what you believe this team will be after the 4 weeks leading up to, leading up to the Cardinals game. And is that your team podcast? Man, love.
Hold on. Probably my headphones. Yeah, that was my headphones. But go ahead though. Shouldn't be able to do that now.
No, you good. But like I was saying, though, just give a prediction of what you believe will be the record of this team once they exit out this stretch of games without Tua. Like, how do you think they'll fare?
All right, so run me the opponents once again. We got Seattle this week.
You got Seattle this week.
Mm-hmm.
You got them on the road. Then you got the Titans on Monday night at home.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Patriots on the road. Then you got the Colts on the road. Well, technically you have a bye week. Then you have the Colts on the road. And after that, he's eligible to return at the earliest against Arizona at home.
I won't see. I don't think 2-2 is far fetched. I do, at the end of the day, my team is the Dolphins, but I am a realist. I don't believe that we're necessarily going to win every single game, but I also don't believe that we're going to lose every game either. I think we still have weapons on the offensive side. I do believe that we still have, I'm not going to say coaching, but somewhat of a degree of doing what to do with our weapons. So I do believe that we're going to be at least 2-2, the very least. I do believe we're going to beat the Patriots off running and defense alone, the running game and the defense. And I do believe that we have a chance against the Titans or the Colts. The Seahawks, I'm iffy on. I do think we're going to win, but I'm giving us a solid 2-2. So what that is, 3-3 coming out of the bye?
Yeah, that'll make us 3-3.
Yeah, I don't think that's honestly, for your starting quarterback, $200 million quarterback, I don't think that's a bad record to have.
Okay, so you still believe this should be a playoff team by all stretches of imagination, like regardless the Tua injury and things of that nature.
I do believe we should still be a playoff team. When it comes to the end of the season, yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad we're at the same point because I'm under the same belief. I think, truth be told, this is nothing more than another in-season obstacle for them to overcome. I get it. A lot of teams are worse without their starting quarterback. No denying that whatsoever. But at the end of the day, you're not playing world beaters, and this team has enough talent on it, even without Tua playing, to beat at least two of these teams in the next 4 weeks. I mean, the Seahawks has an injury report out the wazoo right now, man. I mean, we're gonna go through the injury report in a little bit, but they got a lot of players out not out, but that's not practicing, and a lot of key guys like that. Tennessee hasn't looked like anything special this season. They're 0-2. I mean, they pretty much handed away 2 games. They might play desperate once you play them, but that's not always a good thing. The Patriots, yeah, they looked bad last night against the Jets, but listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Aaron Rodgers looked damn good, so I take that with a grain of salt because when you're going up against a team with that much talent and you literally don't have the talent to stack up, it's gonna be a long night regardless. And truth be told, the Dolphins should be in the same predicament as the Jets was. They should be able to get looks at certain plays off of just having the better team. But we're gonna see how the quarterback play shakes out because, like I said, we ain't got A-Rod back there. So, and then the Colts game, that's another team that has to look like a world beater. So, you got 4 winnable games on the schedule coming up. So, if we truly do believe this team to be a playoff team, I don't think you should be thinking this team should go 1-3 or 0-4 in this stretch. They at the very worst to at least stay in playoff contention. In my personal opinion, they have to split this 4-game stretch. They have to because if you do, you pretty much gonna be out the running because you got a lot of good teams that's below 500 right now. They may not get back into the nick of things and into the thick of things this week, but within the next month, they're gonna be there. I mean, we talking about the Ravens, the Bengals. Like, there's some teams that's on the outside looking in right now that's gonna get right, I believe. So they have to figure it out now. But with all that being said, the next thing I wanted to discuss that we have to talk about, we're gonna preview the game, and we got to talk about the Seahawks matchup against the Dolphins, man. So let's get into the injury report first and foremost. Go ahead and pull that up real quick. You look at the injury report for the team specifically, and what we know so far. Well, first thing I want to say is Teron Armstead is practicing, so he's looking like he's slated to play this weekend. That's a good thing. We're gonna see. I remember last year was a time he said he was slated to play and he didn't, but you take it with a grain of salt and you actually take it with some kind of merit because he actually is practicing. Usually the men don't practice. But let's look at the injury report. We're gonna start with the Seahawks side because they got, like I said earlier, they got an injury report that's out of this world right now. They got at least, it looks like 15 plus guys. So you got nose tackle Jonathan Hankins, who didn't practice due to rest. You got Nwosu, their best pass rusher. He hasn't practiced in 2 days now. Then you got Jaron Reed. He has a knee injury, but is also for rest. He was a full practice on Wednesday, but he didn't practice Thursday. Kayvon Wallace didn't practice all week. Jerome Baker, former Dolphin, revenge game for him possibly. He was limited in practice Thursday, but didn't practice Wednesday. So his status may be 50-50. Some other guys who are noteworthy, Devin Witherspoon, practice limited both days. Leonard Williams didn't practice Wednesday, but practice limited Thursday. Kenneth Walker, another guy that's pretty much, a huge injury concern for them. He didn't practice this week at all, and he didn't play this past week either. So this more than likely is a guy you're not going to see. And DK Metcalf was a full practice Thursday, so more than likely he'll play. And Lincoln Tomlinson, the guard, he was a full practice Thursday. It's a lot of other guys on here, but they aren't really difference makers for this team as it stands down. I mean, like Pharaoh Brown, Noah Fant. I mean, I know they're probably the 2 next depth pieces of tight end, 1A, 1B situation, but they're not the difference makers in this game. Tyler Lockett is going to be limited. But at the end of the day, man, they have a lot of injuries, like I said earlier. So this is maybe one of the few teams in the league that's battling injury woes just as bad as us, if not worse. So we'll see how it goes in regards to that. I believe this is an injury situation and the team situation that the Dolphins should be able to take advantage of because from what I see listed, they don't have any injuries on the defensive side. The Dolphins, that is. They have Calais Campbell, who was out on rest.
Technical difficulties, my bad.
No, it's all right, man. But like I was saying, the Dolphins don't have any injuries on the defensive side. Calais Campbell is the only one that showed up on the injury report, and that was only for veteran rest. So the defense should be pretty opportunistic in this game because you're already going up against a pretty weak interior offensive line. They don't have the. It look like they won't have their best rushing ability with Kenneth Walker possibly sidelined for the second straight week. Now, you do have to worry about three pretty good receivers, and I know DK Metcalf and JSN is coming off a week where they made history for the Seahawks, where they're the first pair of teammates to have 10 plus catches and 100 plus yards in the same game. So you gotta be pretty concerned about that, and you have to be able to at least take one of those guys out of the game. You can't have both of them destroying you for 10 catches and 100 plus yards. So you gotta be able to take one of those guys out of the game. But on the Dolphins side of the ball, some noteworthy injuries. Raheem Mostert was limited both days with the chest injury still. Liam Eichelberg was a full go. Rob Jones was a full go Thursday, but limited Wednesday. Jalen Phillips was limited Wednesday before Thursday. And like I said about Teron Armstead earlier, he was limited Wednesday and he was limited Thursday. So he was limited both days. We're going to see his status probably more than 50-50 to anything. But for what you hear from the injury reports, man, what do you make of it? Like, what do you think exactly of the injury reports, and does that change your opinion on how this game could possibly go?
It definitely does, only for the fact that injuries that it does sound like they do have is some big ones, and it's some big ones that make a difference on that Seattle Seahawks team. And just hearing the fact that, Devin Witherspoon, some key defensive pieces like Jarran Reed and what's my man's name? Leonard Williams. Like, these are some big pieces that are missing. And just like you said, this Dolphins team with rarely any injuries on the defensive side should be very opportunistic. They're getting the ball, creating turnovers. We can't let Geno Smith beat us and JSN beat us in this game. We cannot allow those guys to beat us in this game. And DK Metcalf, of course. And it sounds like Kenneth Walker may be questionable or may not play. So even Zach Charbonnet, we can't let him come out and be the reason we lose in Seattle. And I know Seattle is a tough place to play, but still at the same time, we got to go out there and at least show them that it's going to be a game. I want us to win, especially after hearing this injury report, but they're still a well-coached team. They still have some good defensive pieces there, some good offensive pieces that sound like they're going to play. So we need to go out there, we need to go out there and show that we can still create things on not only the defensive end, but the offensive end as well.
Right. That's
so
what
how it sounds, I do like us in this game. Now I like us more than ever in this game.
Right, and I agree, man. I mean, I think if there was a game that you need to kind of catch a team at a weak point in terms of the Seahawks right now, it is right now, because the one thing you've been susceptible to this season thus far is a running team, and with them not having Kenneth Walker, that's going to bode well for you. And on top of the fact that, I'm gonna be honest, man, Geno Smith, he's not no slouch, but at the same time, he's not a world breaker either. So you're not playing someone who is going to who should dice you up for the entirety of the game. Now, is he going to
Mm-hmm.
make good throws, good plays here and there? Absolutely. He's a solid quarterback at the end of the day. But as long as you are able to make them one dimensional and predictable, you should be able to have a pretty solid night on the defensive side in terms of what the Seahawks will do. Now, has however, the offense, they have to be able to get something going, man, because this Seahawks team is their defense thus far this season has been pretty damn good, if I'm not mistaken. Their total defense right now is ranked sixth in the league, so they're just outside the top five. Passing yards allowed a game is second in the league, and they're 22nd ranked against the rush. A third down percentage and points per game allowed, they're pretty much in the middle of the pack at 13 and 17. But where you can see this game possibly getting taken advantage of at is the Miami Dolphins running the ball. And Devon Achane has played well thus far this season. So he's going to have to continue his good play because they're going to need it this week. You're going to need to play good defense, and you're going to need to be able to run the ball, especially when you got a guy in Skylar Thompson at quarterback, because you can't expect him to go out there and make you constant and consistent game winning plays. He just isn't going to do that. We know that. We know who he is at this point. So they have to be able to get something out of the other pieces around him. You got anything you want to add to that, my boy? All right. So we're gonna get into some score predictions in a bit, but first I want to talk about the five things I think. Well, not five. Let's make it three. I want to talk about three things I think the team has to do in order to win this game, and I've already said two of them for me at least. One of the things I think the team has to do, they have to be able to run the ball well. You got to be able to control the possessions, time of possession specifically. You got to be able to put yourself in good situations in terms of the yardage and the difference between downs and things of that nature in order to stay ahead of the chains and stay ahead of the clock. You got to be able to do that. And you also have to be able to run the ball, just like I said, man, so you can give your young quarterback and Skylar Thompson a chance in every down he plays. So simply put, he isn't playing behind the chains or he's trying to make up for bad plays or bad penalties. Second thing, the defense has to play well. They have to. You don't win this game if the defense don't play well. If they go out there and they have another showing like they did against Buffalo, against the Jags, where yeah, they will bend, don't break. They didn't give a lot of points. They didn't. A lot of first downs wasn't converted, but teams were able to move the ball on them consistently, run the ball consistently, and they just made one play against the Jags that pretty much changed the game instead of actually having a cohesive unit that tired the game. You're not going to win this game, especially on the road against a solid damn football team. So even with all the injuries, the Seahawks still have talent. So we got to be mindful of that, and the defense has to play well. And the last thing I want to say they have to do in order to win this game, they have to be disciplined. Have to. You have to cut out the penalties. You have to cut out the mistakes, the drops, whatever the case may be. You can't afford any of those things as it stands now because you don't have your guy at the quarterback position to back you up and to possibly help you out in these situations to be a bailout on you. So you can't afford to beat yourself. All right. So those are my three things the team has to do in order to win. You got anything you want to say, Larry?
And you had said three things in order for us to win.
Yeah, the three things you think they have to do in order to win.
I'm gonna combine these two as one. Limit
Okay.
turnovers on offense and get as many takeaways as possible on the defensive side. I know coming in with a young third year quarterback in Skyler who's had very limited action in the NFL. You don't want to depend too much on him. So in order to limit turnovers, you gotta. That's gonna be my second thing going into it. You gotta run the ball well. I really feel like this is
Devon Achans and Jeff Wilson's time to shine because I know Raheem Mostert is still battling his chest injury, and I think more than likely he's not going to play. But I think this is the time for them boys to show that running the ball is imperative in our system. I know we have all our money tied up into 2 wide receivers, and we signed I don't want to call him a big time free agent, but we signed a free agent tight end. But in order to win this game with a backup quarterback, we're going to have to go out there and run the ball effectively and run the ball well. Average 6 to 7 yards a carry. I know that's being optimistic, but that's something you have to strive for in order to win with a backup quarterback, And getting takeaways on defense, and I'm going to combine this. This is my third point. Takeaways on defense. We got to get Geno rattled from the start of the game. We have to rattle him from the start. Geno Smith is the type of quarterback that if he's hot, he's gonna go for a heat check. If he throws 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, he's gonna try to throw a bomb at the end of the first. He's one of those type of quarterbacks. So we need to show him off the rip that we're not going for the classic get the ball down the field and then score in the red zone like the Seahawks are used to doing. Like we need to create turnovers from the jump. And the third thing is a stifling defense. I need this team to hold Seattle under 17 points, man. We need to have a stifling defense under 225 passing yards, under 85 yards rushing. We need to show that the defense needs to show that we're able to go out here and just win the game for the team. Like, not to say that we don't need Tua, but to have the attitude of we could win without Tua. Whether he's in or not, whether he's in the slump or not, we could go out there and still win the game. So those are my 3 points. Just, controlling the turnovers and getting takeaways on the defensive side. The run game is imperative, and we need to just show that we're a stifling defense, man.
Okay. Now, as far as it goes with the defensive side of the ball, I agree. Like I said earlier, man, to me personally, they have to play great defense in order to win this game. Whether it's taking the ball away, whether it's limiting the impact on their difference makers on the side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to add in, I didn't say specifically, you need the best out of your best guys. The star players have to play like it. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek, Waddle, A-Chain, whoever else you want to name, whoever else you view as star talent or star caliber on this roster, they have to be exactly that this coming Sunday. Because Skylar Thompson, they had 10 days to prepare for this game, but he's going to be playing in a hostile environment. They call it the 12th man for a reason up there. He's going to be playing up against, like I said already, a pretty damn good unit. So he has to be able to get some of that load off of himself, and that's going to be through his other teammates, not necessarily what he can do per se. So Devon Achane, like you said earlier, Jeff Wilson, whoever may take the ball as a handoff, they have to come up big. Jonnu Smith, in my personal opinion, has to play because you're gonna need security blankets, you're gonna need quick throws. It's gonna be loud, it's gonna be hostile, so you're not gonna be able to get all the usual calls in. You usually get all these exotic looks. You got to keep it simplistic in this type of game. So, with that being said, I do agree with everything you said, man. They got to make it simple for them, and guys have to make game changes and game impacting plays. Now, with that being said, let's get into the score prediction and who you got winning. So, you go ahead first, my boy.
To think I would, have a Skylar Thompson led Miami Dolphins to go into the 12th man and winning, like I said earlier, is very optimistic. But I do got us winning 27-21. I don't think we're how can I say it? a quarterback is a very important spot for us. And I'm not saying that we're one of those teams that's like a plug-in play type offense, but I do feel like Skylar with a 10 days worth of reps with the starting lineup and everything, and everybody telling how they like the passes to get to be how they like their handoffs and everything. I do like us to steal us a win out of Seattle. I do got us 27-21 winning that game and surprising a lot of folks. I think Skylar's going to surprise a lot of folks with his play.
Okay. For me personally, I think we win this game as well. I'm being a little bit optimistic, but it's because I think this is one of those games you need to win if you want to stay afloat. You're not going to catch every team as injury riddled as you're going to catch the Seahawks right now during this stretch. A lot of these teams will be healthy and they will be good to go and be advantageous against you because Tua is out. This has to be one of the games we win. The Seahawks are riding high right now. They may be having a little winners, a little drunkenness, whatever the case may be. You got to take advantage of it. And I think this is the game that the Dolphins has to find a way to squeeze out a win. So with that being said, I think they win a low-scoring game, 17-14. I think Jason Sanders is a hero yet again, makes a last-second field goal. So I believe that's how the game goes this weekend. So we're going to call it a show here, man. We had a 30-minute mark. I know we both had stuff to do. So you got anything else you want to add before we head up?
I do like that you brought up Jason Sanders because he's gonna be a very, very important part in an upset win if we are to try to achieve that. So Jason Sanders, you got to show up, man. Can't be doinking kicks how he almost did in Jacksonville.
Right. He has to be good this game, man. And I truly believe that. But with all that being said, I appreciate everyone tuning in to the show once again. Who did tune in? Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit that notification, the bell so you get notified whenever we go live. Remember, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case may be, whatever social media platform. 9 and 10 times you look at Last Word Productions up there. So that'll be it for me. Anything you got else you want to add, my boy?
Hey, 2-1. That's it. 2-1.
Right. And that'll be it for me, man. We out.